Ladies and gentlemen, first we will introduce our setup by defining what zoos are, by defining the burden of the government and the opposition, and to define the stance that the government is taking. So, what zoos are open enclosures of animals limited by walls or cages for show to public, usually in urban settings where it's far away from its original habitats. So, the burden of the government is to prove why zoos are bad for animals and society, and to prove that our proposal of banning zoos will be a net benefit for us all. And second, the benefit of the opposition, the burden of the opposition is to refute our arguments on our proposals and to defend the existence of zoos. So our stance here is to ban zoos entirely, for they have been a net negative on the well-being of animals and society as a whole. So as a background, first, zoos are made to entertain rich people, both animals, and they use them for profit, for fun, for pride, for vanity, various purposes that has nothing to do with the well-being of its animals. And second, that zoos has a history of abuse because its owners tend to have very little knowledge on the care of animals, and especially animals that is exotic and did not come from their homeland. And also zoos, the owners of these zoos tend to think that animals are assets, playthings and possessions, property of the owner, and have little interest in their well-being. And moving on to the modern day, animals' rights movement has sprung out across the world, and they have put a large concern into the treatment of animals inside zoos, which is not very good, to put it shortly. So, to explain the status quo, zoos are everywhere today. Zoos exist in multiple places, in towns, in cities, in areas where animals are not native to. And zoos operate in a way that it violates animals' instinct to survive. It violates the reproduction rights by neutering some animals or separating them from mates, and they also remove the survival skills of animals without their consent. These abuses are ongoing right now, and this neglective treatment of animals and the profitability of these animals have led to poaching of wild animals, those exotic and endangered. And why this is urgent? Because to continue having zoos and to continue these unethical treatment of animals is not the right thing to do for a civilized society, and this would also drive the existing wildlife into extinction as poaching and other things continue. So our argument here is to state why the relocation of animals will not fail. So first, there are several points. We will say two. That moving animals gradually from zoos into new reserves will bring unseen problems. That would not happen. Why? Because moving animals gradually, by creating their environments first, by building new facilities, and by moving the bottom feeders first, will allow us to see that there are unseen problems and fix them before the entire thing was removed and relocated. And secondly, there would be proper mechanisms developed, and that would make the long-term keeping of animals inside these wildlife sanctuaries safe. And to argue on why this relocation is good, firstly, it rescues animals from abusive environments by moving them out of tight, restrictive zoos into an environment where they are freely moving and freely doing anything they need, food available and mates available. And second, and that would benefit the well-being of the animals. Second is it desensitizes poaching by removing the factor that enables poaching to happen to begin with, as zoo owners usually buy animals from these poachers. By removing the consumers, poachers will have little incentive to poach, and this would stop the repeating offense of crimes in these areas, and it will also preserve wildlife. Second, and third, it would add variety to existing and new wildlife sanctuaries as animals are introduced, and this leads to the fourth point, that it would promote countryside tourism. When zoos are gone, people would need to go to the countryside, to these wildlife sanctuaries, to visit animals and look at them. And with these new added varieties, going to the countryside will be much more worth it than before, increasing revenues of the countryside and increasing awareness of the well-being of these animals inside these sanctuaries. That's it for me. I'm proud to propose. Thank you very much.